I am Amanda, also known as Amanda the Traveling Realtor. This is Scott Tennant. And hi, Scott.
Hey, Amanda.
So for those of you that have been following me for a while, you know that I was really sick in middle of January, lasted all the way through February and even into the 1st of March. I'm talking sick, like in bed with spasms in my back, could not move, on pain meds, like the whole 9 yards. And so I've been doing a lot of stuff to get better. By June, I was still in a lot of pain. Luckily, I did meet up with Scott and he treated me with this thing. He gave me a treatment, and literally, guys, it's been 6 weeks and I've had 0 spasms. So Scott, what did you do to me?
The device I have is called the Tenant Biomodulator. And I like to say the easiest way to understand it is it's almost like electronic acupuncture that you have at home. So it raises the voltage in your cells to a minus 25 is what each cell, each organ should run at. First, we reset your autonomic nervous system. So it gets you out of fight or flight. And it tends to be that we're always in that, all the phones and the travel and the things that are going on. So then we started to basically polarize your body by treating at the top of your head, which got all of your chakras to spin in a clockwise direction. So that way now you were polarized, so you would hold a charge. So when we looked at your back area, we noticed that the device would actually stick on the surface. So what that was saying is the device is minus 25 millivolts, your back was not. So that is where the pain is. We could find it just by rubbing the electrodes across the back. And you said that's exactly where the pain is. So now the device and us are communicating, we know exactly where it is. As we started to treat that area and the device started to put its frequency in and your body started to match the minus 25 millivolts, it's like charging your Tesla. We charged your battery in the back there. So then when it did, it was able to get to a point where the body could actually release any tension or any trauma and start to heal it. Because it's like if your Tesla is discharged, you can't run the air conditioner, the radio, or drive.
Mm-hmm. So
your body had no voltage in that general area to bring in the items it needed, the raw materials, the food, the medicine, anything. It didn't have the voltage to heal itself.
So how come someone's body gets so messed up like that where they don't have any voltage left?
Yes. A lot of things. So scars, tattoos, those things interrupt the pathway. It's like cutting an electrical line. The electricity comes down to where the cut is and then doesn't get all the way through to the bottom. So, your lamp may not work because the wire has been cut. So it interrupts things. So scars, tattoos, hormonal imbalances. A lot of people nowadays have thyroid issues. They may not be obese, but they may have a hyperactive thyroid. They're very thin and can't gain weight well, can't hold muscle, hair loss, that sort of thing. Or they can have an underactive thyroid. And a lot of that is undiagnosed because a lot of times the range that looks normal may be a little off. So thyroid, female, male hormones can be off. Emotions are big. Emotions like to attach to certain areas of the body or certain organs. So fear and loss a lot of times goes with kidneys. And sometimes you can hold things. So lower back, say, could be a heavy burden. And it may be something that as you're going along, you say, okay, there's something going on that I'm holding on to. And it's like a heavy burden. So as we started to talk, it was a heavy burden. So you look at that. So now when we get up to the level where you have voltage, we can easily now release that because it's well enough to say it does not support Amanda. Mm-hmm. And then it became very easy. And so when the voltage got up and the sticky went away, then the pain was gone. And I think the magic miracle, and I do have a picture and I'll share it with you so you can share on here. But immediately when the pain was gone and you looked up, I said, don't freak out, look to your right. And there was a zebra eating his dinner right by you. And I'll never forget, you said, did I do that? And it was, you had this peace about you, a very light, beautiful peace. Your inner light that shines anyway, shines so much brighter, but in a great, awesome, quiet space. And then we looked around and you said, look over there, there was 5 more.
Mhm.
And that space, these animals felt safe. And yes, I created that because you felt safe.
Yeah, because it's the energy that we're putting off, right? It has a lot to do with our auras. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So animals are drawn to that. And it wasn't just the zebras, it was the impalas too. Like they
It
were
was that, right. I forgot about that. Yes. But we have a picture of that zebra. Is the minute you looked up, I took the picture and it was amazing.
I could have reached out and touched it. That's how close it was. And those zebras were not getting that close.
No, no. I've shown people that picture and they're like, you have got to be kidding me. It was such joy in your face. And I told people, I said, you cannot imagine the feeling of that moment of peace, love, and joy. It was just, you had to giggle. It was so magical.
Yes. And lightness. I can't even explain how I felt. I just felt light. I just didn't feel like I had all this weight on me anymore on my back. And obviously, you're not the only one to tell me it was emotions. I've been seeing my Reiki therapist now for about 1.5 years. And every single time she says, it's emotions, it's emotions. You have to learn how to release your emotions. I'm the type of person, I think they call us an empath, right? We take everyone else's energy and then we just don't know how to get rid of it. And so sometimes it can stick in areas like you're talking about.
Yes, yes, yes. And it was, and I'm learning too as we go. I mean, we've been doing this for 20 years, but you always learn something from every experience. And especially when you have that friend connection. And we really just met that trip. But it was one of those things that I think we saw each other as an empath of somebody who's highly caring and highly trusting and highly loving. And that gave a chance. And that's why we needed to separate ourselves from everybody else. We couldn't let anybody take any of that when we had to get to that space to release. And it was just a magical moment, I think, between, 2 friends that was able to say, oh, wait. And I think that's why the magic came.
It was definitely magic, that's for sure. And I keep telling people about this because they're messaging me. They're like, wait, you were just like on bed rest and now you're out. I just hit 11 countries in 6 weeks by myself with a backpack on. That's just this night and day difference. Wow. And I honestly could not have done that if I had felt the same way I felt my first 3 days in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I owe my trip to you, Scott. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I mean, literally, I got something from it too, because it was just the amazement of seeing your face. And that was just such joy. And I've shown plenty of people, I said, let me show you joy. And I showed the picture. And I don't even have to really tell them the story. They look at it and they say, that is amazing. I will send it to you because it's just beautiful. And it was captured at the right moment. And it was really cool lighting.
Thank you for capturing that. I could not wait to see it.
I know.
I do have a question about this because I know within our Tony Robbins Platinum community, there are a few people who have these machines. They use them themselves. My question is, you did this treatment on me 6 weeks ago. I'm still okay. Yes. So is this something that will wear off? How often do people need to use it? Talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So it's really individualized. A lot of your things, I think, was the hidden emotion. And I think that's where it was manifesting. So lightly, we touched on some things and it was such a great connection that I think you were able to release, which I think let the body just say, oh, now I just need to charge. And then it holds it and it says, now I'm doing my thing. So the body takes over. And then you were definitely in a space where you were growing and noticing and changing. And in the miracle of all those things in Africa and all the things we were sensing that were new and fabulous and wonderful, that was giving you voltage. So I think a major piece was the emotion when you finally saw it, called it, moved it, and we moved it and we charged it. We moved it out. Now, not to say that it may not be completely healed. It could come back. You had a couple of times when you had some pain, which could have been too much, may have worked out too much, carried too much, walked too much, didn't sleep, that sort of thing. And then when the body recharged itself, because now it knows where to go, then, you slept, you drank some juice, or you did some meditation, that sort of thing. You kind of charged it back up. There are other people that have chronic things, like if it was attached to an organ, it was an organ deficiency, that sort of thing, then that would be something that would take a longer thing to do. You're doing a lot of things that help bring up your voltage anyway. A lot of people we see that especially are not in a conscious type community of growing and things, they tend to have so much more things pulling the electricity or the energy out that they need something to actually kick it all the way up. Or if it's a chronic condition, they're going to need to keep it up, because it's like their Tesla's discharging way faster than ours. So a lot of people buy it for chronic conditions. I like to say stage 3 or stage 4 of something. It could be fibromyalgia, it could be cancer, it could be anything, liver disease, you name it. Stress, we can reset the autonomic nervous system like we did with you. We have a lot of people like the Platinum Partners, or people who are trying to get well before they get sick, or really stay well before you get sick. So they're biohacking. We were doing biohacking before it was a word, 25 and 30 years ago when we created this. But it's people who say, I'm going to do things now to make sure that I am highly resourcing my body and everything I have. So when something does bump me down, I have the resources already on board and with me. So I'm going to stay well and build my body, build my muscles, build my mind, build my spirit. So they reset their autonomic system every day in the morning. You start from that space where everything's possible. You're at peace and you're basically in beta and you're ready to go. Beta and sometimes a little theta. You can use it at night to get you more in a dream state. But it gets you in that place where you can handle the stress and the things that are coming, and you're not draining your body with your thoughts, your mind, your emotions. They'll polarize their body by treating at the top where all your chakras come in. And that's why people do the meditations that take sometimes 30 years to learn how to do. They can do it in 5 minutes with the device.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I've been doing a brain tap meditation.
We partner with Brain Tap on some things because if you can take your sensories down, the sound, the voice, you have the lights, then you add the frequency. It's like mathematics. They run together to accentuate each other. So I've heard people say 1 + 1 is 1,000. When you're doing that, you're taking your brain and you're putting in the brain frequencies and you're putting in the meditation and all of the things. You're using your I am statements, you're using your mantras, you're doing things where the meditation is leading you to a place. That adds to the mathematics. So you have this and that, 1 + 1 = 1,000. Because your brain now goes to a place where you're raising yourself up. So it's all of those things come in. So if you noticed, when I subtracted you from the group, we took away any of the things about the music, the people talking, the people laughing, they were drinking, that sort of thing. I subtracted you away. I wanted everything that could possibly be a subtractant. So I made 1 + 1 = 1,000. We got to your space. We talked. We got clear. We polarized you, retreated your autonomic, treated the pain. 1 + 1 is 1,000. So then you saw that the animals came around because they said, wait, I need some of that. I need to be in that safe space. So there was that much things going around, which now we were admitting outward. So they came inward to recharge with us. So that's what people do every day. They get their body ready. They treat their pain, whether they've had a knee that has no cartilage. They treat their knee. Now they can go about the day with less of a foot track or foot drop or pain. Athletes use it to reset their autonomic nervous system. It's better to say, I'm in control. I'm going to wait till I see the person's whites of their eyes before I get upset. Where other teams say, fight, 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 kill, kill, kill. They have a higher injury rate because they're in fight or flight. So
Mm.
that's why we use it with a lot of sports teams, sports players. A lot of teams that don't do it, the players will buy it themselves because they know I protect me.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying, because people like me, we stay in flight, right? So,
Absolutely. Literally.
yeah, literally. Yeah. I guess so. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And even my functional medicine doctor, she's been saying, you've got to learn how to relax, like not think about stuff. I'm like, how do you do that? So when you're an entrepreneur and you're always go, 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 it's hard to take that time. And that's why the brain taps really helped me.
Yeah.
And that's why, this is such a great thing as well. You
Yeah.
mentioned something, Scott, that I'm very passionate about, as my viewers know, and that is cancer.
Yes.
So how is this? And for those of you that maybe haven't followed my journey with cancer, my dad had cancer, and we ended up taking him down to Tijuana, Mexico, to the CHIPSA hospital, and we cured his cancer naturally with the Gerson therapy. And so I'm very passionate about curing cancer alternatively, not with chemo, radiation, and surgeries. So what is your take on that? How is this helping with the whole cancer thing?
Sure, sure. So in the USA, a doctor, unless you're an oncologist, can't say they treat cancer. So we do not treat cancer at our clinic or with our devices. We support the body so the body never forgets how to heal.
Mhm.
So when you look at what you did, we have people that do natural treatment for cancer. We have some that are somewhere on the fence of natural and Western medicine. So they may say, I'm going to do, chemo, I'm going to do radiation and try to keep my body as healthy as possible. So that is a personal choice. Nobody in my immediate family has had cancers. We haven't had to make that choice. But at this point, we think we would do the natural like you do. Because a lot of times with chemo and radiation, you get one shot. And then if it comes back, you've used your one shot if it was to help. And if it comes back 10 times harder, and chemo and radiation now will not work again. So if you heal naturally and you get it under control, then you save all your bullets in your gun, right? Just in case. Or if things change and they come up with something later, you saved all the bullets. When we treat people with cancer, they realize what we said about the people who want to stay well before they get sick. They say, I'm sick. But if I did do a treatment that is a severe detox or, God forbid, chemo or radiation, and I think Tony even says chemo and radiation is to hopefully kill the cancer before it kills you. Hopefully you die last.
Mhm.
But if you keep the body as healthy as possible, then your body doesn't forget how to heal. So anything you do, a detox is better. Mind-body therapy is better. Your meditations are better. So again, I go back to people now, a lot of them have electric cars. If you keep your Tesla charged, you can drive anywhere you want to up to the range of the car. If you keep it at a quarter charge, not so much. So
Mhm.
we tell people, keep your battery charged, keep your voltage up. If you need the raw materials that you're taking in your supplements, the diet where you starve the body, you don't give it sugar, things like that, because sugar feeds cancer. So every time somebody ups their sugar value and they say, I just ate a cake and cupcakes and ice cream, and it's like, wow, not a good idea. If you're going the opposite way, you cut that things out and your body is metabolizing things or eating things, then you keep the voltage up, it has more power to be able to eat more.
It's really funny you say that. Not a lot of people understand that about sugar. And when I was just in the UK at one of Tony Robbins events, it was UPW UK, and I met another Platt. And we just started talking, and actually we're talking about my real estate business. He was asking me how I got into short-term rentals, and I got in because I took my dad to Mexico. So I put our house on Airbnb. And so I don't ever really go into depth on like the whole cancer thing, but for some reason, I told this guy everything about the Gerson therapy and how we ripped all the sugar from his diet. And then we did this vitamin CK3 that was going in, and they were just killing the cancer cells. And I was like getting all passionate with it. And his face was just like astonished. And he pulls out his phone and he shows me he's been researching the Gerson therapy. It was on his phone when he pulled it out of his pocket. And I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, Yeah, I'm on the board of the Cancer Research Institute of the UK, and I'm trying to get into all the doctors in the UK to tell their patients to stop eating sugar. Because in America,
Yes.
I've been in the room with them. I'm like,
Yeah,
so he stopped eating sugar, right? Oh no, eat whatever you want. That is complete bullshit.
that
You've
is
got to stop eating sugar.
yes. Yes, yes. And I do research. So there's a group, I won't say the name, but they started like a primary care physician thing, like a monthly fee. You can go to their little clinics or open them up all over. And so he called and he said, well, your blood work looks really well. So you obviously eat clean. I said, yes. He said, awesome. Do more of that. I said, wait. And he said, what? I said, okay. So you're going by my weight, my body mass index, these sort of things. And I said, you didn't say, what does clean mean to you? He said, well, everybody knows what that means. And I said, no, they don't. I said, I'm in medicine too, and I'm asking you. And I said, I will tell you, there is someone I know that if you said to this person, do you eat clean? He's going to refer it back to 6 years ago and go, yes. And then you say, so how do you eat clean? And he said, well, I used to get the fried Chick-fil-A sandwich and I'd eat the whole thing. Now I eat half of the grilled one. He said, well, that's better. I said, that's a different question than clean. Because I said, is a grilled Chick-fil-A sandwich clean? He said, it is not. I said, now, what you also didn't ask is, did you eat the waffle fries with it? And how about that large Coke that you had?
Or the sweet tea.
Yes, pretty much. Yes. And he's like, wow. I said, how old are you? He said, 28. I said, therein lies the problem. Because the question you asked was a bad question. The answer you got was an honest answer without being informed. So you could have misled me or that patient by saying, do more of that. Where he says, that doctor just told me I can eat Chick-fil-A every single day. Eat half the sandwich and all the French fries and that sweet tea.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not what he said. But the patient would think I'm eating healthy because of what he thought he heard and what he thought he answered and what the guy thought he asked. Not true. When you go back and you break it down and say, let's get the salad, let's bring your own dressing, let's get the grilled chicken and cut it up, put it on it yourself at Chick-fil-A if you have to eat at Chick-fil-A. That is cleaner, the cleanest you can get at that space.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's all about educating people. And you're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, so we deal with that every day when we talk to people. It's like the bundling of stuff. And that's why we like the brain tap. So what we did is like when we went over, I flew Emirates to get from the States we went to Dubai, then to Africa. And so I took my brain tap and I took my device. And so on the plane, I was able to say, okay, I want to go to sleep. So I put the brain tap on and I treated my vagus nerve with the device and I reset my polarities all at the same time. And then had a great 5.5 hour nap. Then I woke up, they served me breakfast, and we landed. And I was fully charged and ready to go for the next day.
Yep. Yep. Oh, so good. Yes. If you guys are traveling, you need to have one of these. Even if you're not traveling. Scott, your dad created this device.
Yes.
So I would like to hit on that. How did he come up with this?
Yes. So he did most of the cases of the surgery that is LASIK that gets rid of eyeglasses. So what they didn't know is the cells were still alive for the cold laser that came off the eyes and went straight up his nose through the mask because they were so small they went through the fabric. They didn't have the K9 or whatever those masks are, the microspore masks. So he got encephalitis and 37 other viruses in his brain. So his body stopped making platelets. Short-term memory loss, things like that, just low energy. He went to the doctors and they said, we don't know what it is. We don't know what caused it. We don't know what to do. We're going to give you some steroids and you're going to look really great. But the back conversation was, while you die, because they don't know what's going to happen. And his platelets were crashing and at about 7%, you have a stroke and die. So he thought, that makes no sense. I'm a scientist, I'm a surgeon, I'm a doctor. Western medicine has now failed me because there's no answers. We have no clue. He went everywhere. So he said, let's look back into history and see what's going on. So that's where he found out. He went back and found that cells run at minus 25 millivolts. He said, so wait a minute, acupuncture does that, but you ask an acupuncturist, what is that when you stick a needle in? They say, well, there's yin and yang, and we're going to make yin and yang the same. That doesn't make sense to me. There's not minus 25 millivolts and minus 25 millivolts. It's the same when they equal, when both is 25. You can't quite take yin and yang in acupuncture and make it make sense in English, because there's not words that make sense. So he thought, if we can take the frequencies we know that heal the body, that work with each organ system and those sort of things, and put them in with a device, because we know exactly what it is, we put in the acupuncture meridian on that organ, we can raise that organ's voltage. Or we can treat the whole body and raise the whole body voltage to minus 25, or all of them. So that's how we created the device that puts the voltage in. So if somebody says, well, how do I treat my knee? Well, if it's an injury, you treat your knee. If you say, how do I treat my elbow? If it's an injury, you treat your elbow. When you said my back hurts, I treated your back. Now, the secret was, I said, was this an injury? You said, no, not to my knowledge. So it had to be something else. So now it became a clue. Then the clue became to try to unravel the clue. Looks like a heavy burden. Yes. So now we raise the voltage in your back, while, if you notice, like with brain tap, I slowly slowed down my voice, like a brain tap. So as we talked, I said, no bad thoughts, only good thoughts. The heavy burden is not yours. So as we talked, I was reprogramming your body. Your body knew what was going on as your voltage would raise. And we had your autonomic nervous system in a good place. You said, yes. And we reprogrammed. And that part of the body now accepted the voltage and remembered how to heal. So that's what we did. And so we noticed immediately when we started using it that the patient started to notice their pain went away. Their liver started to heal if we were treating their liver. Or like himself, he noticed that within days, his spleen started making more platelets. We treated his spleen, and his symptoms in his body went away, which were all on the spleen meridian, which if you went to your doctor and said, my little toe aches a lot, they're going to go, well, wear better shoes.
Yep.
Instead of saying, was it an injury? No, it's not. What kind of shoes you wear? These. Those are awesome. They're orthopedic, so it's not that. So let's take a reading of the voltage in the little toe, which reads the spleen. And you go, wow, your spleen has no voltage. You're not making any platelets. There's your clue. So that's why in the how.
Wow, wow, wow. So many things are coming to my mind right now. So when I was sick, I literally went through, I can't even tell you how many doctors and medical professionals, and both hospitals and functional medicine and alternative. I mean, I went through everyone, and no one had an answer for me. No one. I don't know why. I don't know why you're in pain. I don't know why you're having spasms, And so it's funny because your dad went through this too. And what I consider that is he created a machine out of, which has now turned into a miracle. And now he's curing people, and it's miracles, just like you cured me with this miracle thing. And it's just like turning your mess into a miracle. Actually, I used to do a speech, turn your mess into your message. But then Tim Story is a really good friend of mine. He said, I want you to change that. I want you to turn your mess into your miracle. And it's so much better, right? So shout out to Tim Story for that one.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then another thing that I do want to add to that is when I was going through all of this, I had a root canal done a year ago, March, right?
Yeah.
And so I had just like a constant pain in my jaw, nothing serious, just like, I don't know, my jaw throbs, it's just, I got used to it. It wasn't a big deal. But then I started figuring out and learning about the meridians?
Yes.
Your teeth are attached to all of these different organs, probably just like your toe, right?
1000%.
Oh my gosh, it's just a whole new world. And when you start diving into this, there's reasons why things go wrong. And it can hurt your mouth.
Yes. So here's an interesting fact. when you start to stack, Tony talks about finding patterns and stacking them together. When you start taking your symptoms and you add them together, it points to, like the spleen, 8% of all women that have breast cancer that come to us have a root canal right back here. And their doctors will say, it's fine. You have no heat or cold sensation, probably, and you have no pain. Well, one, they've ripped out the nerve and out of the root, so the tooth is not going to hurt. So when they say you have no pain, unless you have an infection in your gum, you're not going to have pain. You probably had the root canal probably affected your bone. There was probably some of the pus in the bone. So the bone now was affected. So the ache was coming from your bone, which was from the tooth.
But you know what was funny, Scott? I went and had 3 different dentists do x-rays. I had 3D scans done. Every single one of them said, there's nothing, there's no infection. You're totally fine. I made the choice after watching Root Cause.
Yes. Yes. My dad's in. Yes.
Your dad's in that documentary?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. So after watching that, I scheduled to go see a holistic dentist, and we yanked that thing out. We put a bone graft in, and we did ozone injections. So I'm like, I'm fixing that thing immediately.
Yes. 1000%. Yes. That is the best thing you can do. And people say, but I will have no tooth for about 6 weeks until you get either a bridge or you get a post.
Yep.
But they will call me crazy, and they call my dad crazy, but it is the only profession that will leave something that's dead in your body for cosmetic reasons. And the body's job is to get rid of anything that is dead or dying of not of self. Yep. So, we tell people, say, you don't have to take the root canal out if it's not a problem, unless you're somebody who thinks, I want to get well before I get sick.
Yes.
Because once you get sick, it's harder to get well. And people say, well, I spent $30,000 to get this done. It's going to cost me $30,000 to get it out. And we've actually had people, Amanda, that have said this, I have to leave my kids something. And so I get a little tacky, but it's a little funny, but I say, they do not want your trailer.
No.
So spend the $30,000 because they'd rather have you for another 10 to 15 years and not your junk. Because then they say, well, I don't live in a trailer. And I said, they don't want your junk. They don't want your art. A lot of people are like you. So they have scaled down and they travel and they have experiences. They don't want your grandma's, little tchotchke. They don't. They want you.
Mm-hmm.
Fix your health, fix your mouth. Don't get sick.
Yep. And I didn't put a new tooth in. It's my very last tooth. I was like, forget it. I don't need a new tooth. I did get the bone graft because just in case I ever wanted to put a new tooth back there, right? But all in all, that whole process costed me under $3,000.
Wow. That's amazing. Yes, because you didn't do the implant. If you did the implant, another $5,000, $7,000, $10,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't need the back tooth.
No, I'm totally fine. So for those of you watching out there, I mean, we've hit on a lot of things today. So I love talking to people who are just on the same page, right? And I'm finding that more and more within our platinum community at Tony Robbins, because we do want to biohack. We do want to, not get sick and cure our bodies and be healthy and not have to go through that. Because the thing is, you can either rest when you're alive and well and feeling good and relaxed, learning how to relax, which I'm working on, or you're going to rest because you're going to be in a hospital bed. That's the bottom line. So I think I'd rather take the time now to learn all that and to take care of our bodies. So Scott, how can I help you spread the word with this? I 100 support what you guys are doing. I love your dad for creating this machine. I love you for talking about it and doing this interview with me today, because I know a lot of my audience, they're dealing with a lot of stuff as well. So how can we help spread the word?
Awesome. So I'll send all my contact info and feel free to pass it along. I have advisors that do a lot of what we just talked about with people, because everybody's different. Call in, have a session with an advisor, tell what your symptoms are, what you're going through, what you've been through, and we help you find a way. It's finding the root cause of what's your problem and fix it. stay here on the planet to live your soul's mission. So I'll give you all the information. We love what we do. My staff, my dad's staff at the clinic, they're amazing. And we take the time like we did with you because we know it is such a blessing to who you meet and who you help find their way. So Amanda, thank you so much.
Oh, I really appreciate that. And just, I owe you so much. So thank you. Thank you. We're going to help spread the word. And I look forward to seeing you hopefully at Business Mastery next week. We're going to Florida.
You will. Thank you.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us today.